And all the while, they're also spreading their GMO seeds, GMO seeds, and then destroying all these countries' heritage crops, because this is what Monsanto's about. Right? It's not about feeding the planet. It's about dominating the planet. So they say Kwan's group also guarantees to buy the harvest. This takes away most of the farmers' risk, and most keep the soybeans as food for their families. Oh, yeah, they're so nice. They guarantee to buy the harvest. So what they want is they want cheap labor. They want cheap, uneducated labor in these broken down, destroyed nations. They want cheap labor for these people.
That's racism, man. I love to racism, bro.
Soy face. So they want cheap labor, and we'll buy the seeds from you. Just get your little children to work in the fields and spray our Monsanto Roundup everywhere. That's then going to destroy your soil, so you can't basically grow anything else except more soybeans. And then you guys can just eat that exclusively, and then you'll be sterile. And we can kill two birds with one stone. We have cheap slave labor, and we can depopulate. I mean, it's a very wicked system that's been set up here. And the IMF goes into these countries, gives these predatory loans, and the loan conditions are always forcing them to allow the penetration into their market of these GMO crops. So then they'll give these small farmers big loans through the IMF or microfinance schemes that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation sets up in places like Africa that'll put them into debt and make it to where they're actually unable to ever really pay these debts back. All right, put them into permanent debt. They have to buy all these huge machines, which they'll need the microfinance loans to buy. They have to buy these huge machines for harvest. They have to buy more and more pesticides every year. They have to buy the patented seeds that commit suicide that you can't save and regrow. That's what the IMF does. Right? So the Bretton Woods monetary system works on behalf of these global bankers, these global corporations, and the military, and in concert with the military through these public-private partnerships that were brought into popularity through the Rockefeller Foundation, in the U.S. at least, starting at the very beginning of the Rockefeller Foundation when the Standard Oil Trust was busted up. And so again, the GMO revolution and the GMO soybeans, you wouldn't have those if not for Rockefeller Foundation funding. They put over $100 million into sparking the so-called Green Revolution, right? And they give it these Madison Avenue PR firm names. Oh, the Green Revolution, it's great. It's so enlightening. It's so good. We're going to save the planet. We're going to save all the people. We're going to feed them all the green, healthy stuff. The Green Revolution was industrial agriculture. It was pesticides. It was Monsanto Roundup, right? The Green Revolution was Agent Orange. The Green Revolution was genetically modified crops displacing people's heritage crops, and the creation of the so-called factory farming system, which then consolidated the meatpacking industry under just 4 corporations in the U.S. And of course, these companies like Coca-Cola, Nestle, massive grain conglomerates like Cargill that runs over like 45% of the global grain trade right now, probably more. Now, I mean, all these corporations have become more powerful after the global economic warfare of the last year and a half. So you have this kind of consortium of NGOs, private corporations, big banks, the U.S. military, and the U.S. government pushing these so-called green revolution, pushing the GMO revolution, and these what F.W. Mangdahl called seeds of destruction in his book. And they're very destructive at every level. It's not just the pesticides that destroy the soil, right? Where the autism rates increase dramatically. All the areas near these pesticide-drenched fields where they're spraying glyphosate, autism rates go up, cancer rates go up. Right? They create these oceanic dead zones from all the crap, all the sludge, and all the byproducts of these herbicides, pesticides, insecticides that Monsanto and Dow, Syngenta produce for their genetically modified crops. They also destroy the genetic heritage of the cultures that they've destroyed as far as their crops go. right? You've got thousands of varieties of corn that were grown throughout South America for generations, for hundreds of years, saving them thousands of years, passing these seeds down through the generations, thousands of varieties of potatoes. Just ridiculous amounts of high yield heirloom varieties of, what was that called? Kamut, wheat in Iraq. All these displaced by the Monsanto seeds that these companies forced their way into these countries. They basically forced them to grow this stuff.